This is part two. So that you guys are not confused. This is part two. I'll babble on for another what? I'll babble on for another 30 minutes, and the remaining 30 minutes I will read Lord of the Rings. I am on the Old Forest. I'll read a good 6 pages today. So 43, 44, 45, 46. I'll read up to page 148. I'll stop. So I'll read 6 pages today. And then the next day I will finish. So in 2 days I should finish the Old Forest. And then chapter 7 is the interesting one, which is the House of Tom Bombadil. Look at an interesting chapter for that. So I'll babble on for another 30 more minutes. You guys love it when I babble because when I talk about my SkySource company. You guys can see your future. You already know how top much of a company you are going to own. You're looking at a top-notch SkySource company, man. You're looking at something top-notch, man. Luxury office, futuristic. I showed you guys many pictures of the kind of office I'm going to own. I'm going to own a nice, like, luxurious, futuristic office, man. And that will be what? I'm going to own a top-notch, luxurious, like, futuristic rooftop condo, man. It's a rooftop condo. I'm also going to own a top-notch, luxurious office, man. And so when these actors walk into my office, they're going to be wow, like, holy shit, SkySource is top-notch. Because in Hollywood, they have pretty nice offices, but none of them own, like, a nice, like, luxurious, like, building office. Obviously, right? So the actors are flown on my private jet. Which is already cool. They get 2 beers in the jet, and then once they arrive, the limo driver takes them to my office. So I'll hire a limo company to take all the actors to my office. Limo driver drives to my office. Then once they arrive, they see the nice, like, futuristic office. I might even give them a tour. A tour to my building where the special effects team. Like, I might give the actors a tour, maybe give them a tour. Actually, I don't have to do that, but the actors are gonna be wowed when they see my office, me and my wife's office, and the office me and my wife are gonna own. They're gonna be like, holy shit, like, SkySource is top notch, like a futuristic luxury office. When they walk into the office, they're gonna be wowed, man. Holy shit, this is cool. And then after that, a limo driver takes us to Boston Pizza. We eat there for 2 hours. The actors can pick one meal they can eat. I'll also get pictures. I don't want the actors getting drunk, but I'll have the actors have, like, a glass of pitcher. So there's 18 of us. I'll order a good 9 pitchers. 1 pitcher for every 2 people. So the actors can have, like, 1 cup of beer at the restaurant. Because I don't want them getting drunk. I want to get drunk at my condo. I'll have the actors pick one meal that they want there, obviously. So I'll have my secretaries tell the actors, on the day you get flown to my office, don't eat too much, because Ivan will be taking you out to what? Ivan will be taking you out to dinner to a nice bar restaurant in Boston Pizza. Because I don't want the actors being full and they can't eat the food. No, I'm going to tell the actors, make sure you don't eat too much. That way when you fly to Vancouver, you can enjoy your meal, obviously. There's nothing worse than being stuffed up and you can't finish your food. And I'll have the actors choose one meal that they want. I'm not going to have them order a bunch of stuff, no, because I don't want them wasting food. I don't want to waste money. I will say, look, pick one meal that you want here. You can pick any one meal that you want here. And Boston Pizza has amazing pizza. They also have good burgers. It's a good chance I'm going to order, like, burger and, like, salad and that kind of stuff. Because by then I'll be starting my diet. There's a good chance I'll order, like, burger and, like, salad. Instead of having it with fries, I'll have it with salad. Sometimes I might have a salad. I don't know. I'll balance my diet. And after that, the limo driver takes. So after we chill at the restaurant for 2 hours, everyone has a blast. Don't forget, the doctor will be filming this. The doctor will be filming all of this. After that, a limo driver takes me, my wife, and the actors, and the 7 team if they want to party out with me and my wife, which is a good chance they will want to party out with me and my wife. The limo driver takes me, my wife, and the actors to my condo. And the actors are gonna get to see my $100 million super advanced condo, and we're partied up there for a good, I don't know, 4.5, 5 hours. And after the 4.5, 5 hours, the actors are sent home. And that's why these actors are gonna pay the wrestle, because they had an amazing experience, man. As yeah, Hollywood executives, they probably have parties at their house too, but none of those executives own like a $100 million rooftop condo. They probably own a 5, 3, 10, 8, 15, $20 million house or condo, whatever it is. Whereas me, I'm owning a $100 million unheard of rooftop condo on top of the roof. You look at something unheard of, man. And those actors are gonna get to party it up with me and my wife at the condo. Yes, they're gonna be living the life, man. That's why they're gonna and don't forget the doc team will be filming some of this. The doc team will be filming. I want the doc team filming the house party too. I want the doc team filming when just the main actors. When the main actors are all flown. I want the doc team filming all the main actors when they sign the contracts, all the main ones. I also want them filming the takeouts, some of the takeouts. I also want them filming when they're flowing on the jet. So you need a few cameramen to be in the jet, obviously. And I also want them filming them in their hometown. And yeah. So the doc team will only film the main actors. The crewmen, the only time they'll film the crewmen is when they start pre-production the third year, as well as the people overseeing the actors. I want them filming the people overseeing the actors the second year for the signups. I want them filming that in Switzerland. I think that's pretty cool. Those are the only crewmen who will film behind the scenes. And then for the crewmen, you don't have to film them at their house. No, the supervisors, you don't have to film them. Just film the main actors, me and my wife, the 7 team, as well as pre-production, writing the script, doing the concerts, all that stuff, as well as me and my wife, the 7 team at their house, the main actors at their house. Minor actors, you don't have to film them. And the third year when pre-production starts, you can film the crewmen working in Switzerland and all that stuff. Obviously, right? And I want them filming the people overseeing the extras the second year when they're flown to Switzerland to do the signups. I want them filming that. I think that's pretty cool. That you see all 60,000 extras signing up. It's something top notch, man. And that's why you're looking at the best documentary. I'm putting $10 million towards my doc. So the $10 million covers what? It covers the payment. The $10 million is going to be used to pay all the cameramen, obviously. They're $350,000. So if you hire a good 15 cameramen, it's only like $4 million. So the $10 million is used to pay the cameramen their salary. It's used to feed them. It's used for their feeding as well as their accommodation when they stay at a hotel, obviously. The cameramen are going to be filming these people. They're going to have to stay at a hotel. That's funded through the $10 million budget, obviously, which is more than enough for a documentary. For $10 million for 4 years is more than enough to pay for their feed, all the cameramen's feeding and then living, more than enough to pay for their feeding and living. The doc team, obviously. So the cameramen get their $350,000 salary for the 4 years, and their feeding and living is paid for through the doc budget. And 7 teams are going to have to keep track of that because 7 teams are going to be hard at work making those business calls. And the documentary are released for free. I can easily release the document. I can easily sell the documentary too, but no. Me and my wife are making more than enough money off the movie because the doc is pretty much part of the movie budget. Me and my wife will make our money back, so I'll just release the documentary for free. And I prefer to release the documentary online on my website. You have a section called documentary. You click documentary, and all 4 parts of the documentary are featured there, and you just have a Chromecast. It's easier. I can easily release a special edition if I want to with a documentary, but no. The documentary, I prefer to release it. I prefer to release it online on my website for free. It's just much easier, and I'll have my web designer put a Chromecast link. That way, all those who want to watch it on the TV can watch it on TV. I also have my SkySource website app for the phone. That way, you can use your phone. Obviously, you need an app. Obviously, I'll have a SkySource web. You have the SkySource website for those who want to go on their computer, and you also have an app for your phone. That way, when you go on your phone, you have the SkySource phone app. That way you can go on the SkySource website on your phone, obviously, when you're on your phone. And I'll make sure the web designer puts a Chromecast link. That way those who want to watch the doc, as most people around the world are going to want to watch on TV, you put a Chromecast link, that way you can watch on TV. On your TV, obviously. And then the movie I'll release on 4K Blu-ray, but the documentary I'll release online for free. Considering the $10 million is a part of your $970 budget, me and my wife will make our money back. So you release the documentary for free on your website. That's why SkySource will be the best branding actor in business as you're looking at an unheard of documentary. $10 million is unheard of. $10 million is probably what? Most documentaries are made for what? $500,000, $1 million. He put like $1 million towards a dock, 500 grand towards a dock. I'm putting $10 million. I believe is like the highest. What? $10 million, I believe, is like the highest. My Skyscraper documentary will be the highest. The highest what? The most expensive documentary ever made, man. As no documentary was made for $10 million, to my recollection. Most of them they only put a couple hundred grand towards it. And for a couple hundred grand, you can what? You can make an amazing documentary. Well, imagine putting $10 million towards a doc. You're looking at unheard of quality, something like an indie movie, an indie style movie. Looks something top notch. So picture a documentary, except I'm leasing indie style cameras. The cameras used for independent movies. I'm using that camera to film my documentary, and you're looking at something even better than Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Look at something top notch, man. Yes, me and my wife are gonna be famous celebrities. You're gonna see me and my wife's life behind the scenes. Look at something top notch, man. And I told you guys, I have the keys. You guys can see the future. You already know how top notch of a company you are going to own. You're looking at a top notch company. Because I have the keys, you guys know. You can see. You know how top notch what? You know how top notch my Skyscraper company will be. It looks like top notch. You're looking at a company better than all those Hollywood companies. That's how top notch of a company. That's how top notch of a company what me and my wife are gonna own, man. It looks like top notch. That's why my wife is so proud of me. Because of me, we get to live this amazing life. You get to live this amazing life. Because not only does VJ want to do the personal, hence why I want to take a year off first. Because I know VJ wants to do the personal stuff with me first, obviously. Yeah, Ivan, even though it's a dream of mine to start my own big budget movie and to own my own company, bigger than all those Hollywood companies. Before we do this, I want to spend time with you. I want to do the personal stuff with you. You know what I'm saying? I want to do the personal stuff with you. That's what VJ's in the stage. I'm like, Ivan, I really want to do the personal stuff with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, because VJ obviously wants to do the personal stuff with me. Her dream is to be in a big budget movie too, but she also wants to do the personal stuff with me too. She wants to travel the world with me. She wants to go clubbing with me. She wants to do all kinds of. She has an endless bucket list, obviously. She wants to travel the world. Hence why I want to take a year off. Before I even start Skyscraper, I'm just going to take a nice year off and just enjoy myself for a good. I'll hire George Lucas. I'll take a good, I don't know, 10 months off, whatever it is. No, a year off. Once me and George Lucas and my wife we plan Sky Source and those 2 months are over and I send George Lucas home for a good year, I'm gonna enjoy my life and just travel the world. What I'll do is I'll visit a country for a couple weeks, come back to Vancouver, see the because I want to come back to Vancouver to see the progress of my condo getting built. Then once the condo gets built, me and my wife can chill in the condo for a couple months before we start the process of the organization of the Last of Us movie. Me and my wife are gonna even take more than a year off. You're probably looking at a year and like 3 months or something like that. Because let's say if I meet my wife, I don't know, next year in September, if we plan Skies for 2 months, that's November. 1 year is the following November. But we're gonna start this process of what of Last of Us in like 2024. Me and my wife will still have a couple more months to enjoy ourselves. So me and my wife are gonna take a good like year and like 2-3 months off before we even start the process of the Last of Us Anus. So what I'll do is after the 2 months are up, we made our plans for our personal stuff and starting Scottsdale with George Lucas, and we send George Lucas home. Me and my wife can then go on our vacation. We can stay out of the country for a couple weeks, come back to Vancouver, chill in Vancouver, so we can see. Because I want to see I want to get the progress of I want to see the updated progress of my condo every couple weeks. Obviously, it's gonna take a good like 8 months to build a condo. So we go to a country, then for a couple weeks, and we come back and we see the progress of the condo getting built. Obviously. And once we took our vacation, the condo's built. Me and my wife can officially settle in Vancouver in our nice, luxurious 100 roof condo, and we'll chill for a couple months before we start the process of the organization. We've hired our 7 team, our doc team's hired, our photographers are hired, our graphic designers are hired, our web designers hired. We've designed our logo. our nice like Sky Source Entertainment logo. Now me and my wife can enjoy ourselves for a couple months before we're hard at work in the office. Before we're hard at work in the office, and we what? You start the process of the last Hope for Zaynus movie. You're looking at the best movie ever made for that. I told you, me and my wife don't even have such Sky Source. I can just live my life with $9 billion is enough for me and my wife to live off for 100 years. I don't even have to put in all that work in such Sky Source. I can just travel the world, build my 100 condo, buy my yacht, buy my jet, and just live the life, man. Because I want to start, it's a dream of mine to be in a big budget movie, and it's a dream of mine to turn Zaynus into the big screen. Because I wrote this story, it's a dream of mine to turn this story into the big screen. Hence why and ever since I was a short from a clean slate, I always wanted to star in my own big budget movie, obviously. And I'm sure VJ's dream is to star in a big budget movie with her husband. Hence why I so badly want to start Sky Source, obviously. Even though these keys really piss me off and they're annoying, I have to get used to it. I really, really want to start Sky Source. As you have no idea how badly I want to adapt Zaynus to the big screen. I wrote the story, and I'm telling you right now, once you read my book, you're going to be like, oh my god, if this was adapted to the big screen and a lot of money's put into it, you're looking at the best story ever told in motion picture. You're looking at an amazing story. Unheard of story, man. Now I told you, I'm not going to follow 100% of the book. No. I'm going to follow a good, 65, 70% of the book. And there's some things that are in the book that I'm not going to include in that I'm not going to, obviously, add in the movie, obviously. There's certain scenes in the book that may not translate well on screen, hence you have to change a few things. But I'm going to follow a good 70% of the book. That way I'm faithful to the story. But I'm going to add 30% of scenes and details, all that stuff. Right, to make the story more interesting, obviously. Hence why you need to co-write it. Don't write it yourself. Always co-write your movie. That way you have more minds for your movie. And that way you write a better script, obviously. Right. I told you, Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson, there's a high chance I might hire one of those guys. Because I know directing and acting, starring as a lead and directing is too stressing. It's very, very stressing. Hence why there's something that's telling me I should just hire one of those guys. As long as they co-write it with me, you should get a good movie. And so I'm not going to be scared of them touching my story, because I know as long as they co-write it with me and we have the same vision, you should get a good movie. As long as they co-write the story with you, you should get a good movie. You shouldn't get a shitty movie because they co-wrote the story with you. They read my book. One of those guys are going to co-write it with me. They're going to do the concept arts with me, so they know Eric Tetzell himself. We have the same vision, hence you should get an amazing movie, obviously. But there's a 45% chance I'm going to hire them, and a 55% chance I'm going to direct it myself, because I'm reluctant of someone else touching my story, obviously. I'm willing to pay one of those guys, whoever's hired, a nice $40 million, which is nice. Again, there's a good chance those directors are also going to try and get a piece of the royalties, because they're big ass directors. I'm going to tell them, look, man, you may be big in Hollywood, you may make a show of money in Hollywood. For my movie, you're not worth a piece of my royalties. Even as a director, you're not worth a piece of my royalties, because you're not worth it. I'm paying you a nice $40 million. You get paid for what you're worth in this world. I'll pay you a nice $40 million out of my own pocket, which is a nice fucking paycheck. And I'll give you $2,000, $3,000 royalty check for all the re-releases, but that's it. You're not getting a piece of the royalties. I'm being very strict on that. As there's no such thing as back-end deals for my company. Everything for my company is front-end. Front-end deal. There's no such thing as back-end deals for my company, obviously. Right? And if I do decide to hire a director, I'll call those two guys up, call their agents up, obviously. Their agents are going to call my office. I'll call their agents up, because even directors have agents. I'll call their agents up, and I will say, hey, look, I'm interested in your two directors. I want to fly them to my office, and I want to ask them a series of questions. I want to have them compete for the job. So if I choose to hire a director, Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson will have to fight for the job. They're going to be competing for the job. And both of those guys are going to what? They're going to be what? They're going to be competing hard, obviously. Because they really, really want what? They really, really want that job, obviously. They really, really want what? They want to work for Ivan. They want to know what it's like to be saved. They want to know what it's like to have freedom. They want to know what it's like to direct the best story ever told. As Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson would love to direct my last Hope for Zaynus. Once they read my book, they'll finally see what I mean. They're like, oh my god, I would love to direct this movie if it was turned into a movie. They would love, obviously, to direct my movie, obviously. Right? They would love to direct my movie, obviously. Hence why both of those guys have chosen, they're really, really going to compete for the job, obviously, because they want that job so bad, obviously. I'm willing to pay them a nice $40 million, which is a nice paycheck. Paid him a $10 million signing bonus for pre-production. So for the 3 years of pre-production, you get your $10 million, and you get your $30 million at the start of production when you start directing, which is a nice paycheck. And I'll also have them be my executive producers if I hire one of them. So whoever's chosen, if Mel Gibson's chosen, I'll have him be executive producer. I'll give him producing power. I'll give him a lot of power. And if Peter Jackson's hired, I'll give him a lot of power. I'll have him be co-writer, director, and executive producer for my movie. It's good. It's, in my opinion, it's good to have, as a director, it's good to have producing power. That way you can consult for some of the business stuff. It's good to have some control in the finances too as a director. Hence why I'm going to give Peter Jackson or Mel Gibson a lot of producing power. I'll have them be my executive producers. So I'll have them consult with my 7 team for business. They won't do any business calls. As executive producer, what you do is you pretty much consult for business. The assistant producers are the ones who do all the dirty work. That's how it works in Hollywood. The executive producers just consult. So I'll have Peter Jackson them consult for business for the 7 team, help them out. Just consult. They won't make any business calls, but they'll be consulting. Consulting. They can even, if they want to make a few business calls, they can, but I'll have them consult mainly for business. So they'll be my executive producers, they'll be my co-writers, and they'll be my director. If one of those guys were hired. One of those guys were hired, obviously. And they're going to be lucky because they're going to have an unlimited budget. They're going to know what it's like to direct a movie. They don't have to worry about running out of money for my movie. Whereas for Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson had a limited budget. For Passion of the Christ, Mel Gibson had a limited budget. But for my movie, if one of those directors were chosen, they would have an unlimited budget to work with, man. Hence, when I hire 60,000 actors, I'm actually hiring 60,000 extras. I'm not going to hire a couple hundred extras and rely on CGI effects. No, I'm actually going to hire, for the war, I'm actually going to have 25,000 wolves. 25,000 wolves. I'm actually going to have 15,000 men lined up for the war, which has never been done before in Hollywood. And it's Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson are going to be happy because they're going to have an unlimited budget to play around with. $400 million towards special effects. A good, $40 million plus is going towards paying all these extras, which is more. $550 going towards the movie is more than enough for paying 6,000 extras. Easily afford it. Top-notch weaponry equipment. It's a good chance I'm going to hire Weta Workshop. Weta Workshop worked on Lord of the Rings. They designed all the armor and weapons. There's a good chance I'm going to hire Weta Workshop to design all my weapons and armor. So all my weapons, armor. All the weapons and armor, there's a good chance I'm going to hire Weta Workshop. Weta Workshop worked on Lord of the Rings. There's a good chance I'm going to hire them to design all my weapons and my armor and all stuff. Whereas the clothing for the extras and all of them, I'll have my team call a top-notch company for clothing, for medieval clothing, and you just rent it. Just rent it. Rent it for all the extras. The only costumes I want custom made are for the actors. So the costumes for the minor actors and the major actors, those costumes you have them custom made, obviously. Whereas the costumes for the weapons, just rent it. You can't make 6,000 costumes, it's too much. You have to rent it, obviously. And the armor for the armor and weapons, I'll hire Weta Workshop, and they'll create all the weapons and all the armor, all the armor also. Some armor you're gonna have to rent. You're looking at a 25,000 wolf army, man. That's a lot of fucking armor you have to make. And it's a good. I'm gonna tell Weta Workshop, hey, can you pull off making 25,000 armor for the wolves? Can you pull off making 15,000 armor for the Zayn army? Can you pull that off? It's a good chance they could pull it off, but it's going to be a lot of work, obviously. But for Weta Workshop, they'll be responsible for. It's a good chance I'm going to hire Weta Workshop. They're going to be responsible for creating the weapons and the armor. Because Weta Workshop, they're the people responsible for the weapons and the armor for the Lord of the Rings movies. And it's a good chance I'm going to hire them. They're a New Zealand-based company. It's a good chance I'm going to hire them to work for my Last of Us movie. Maybe not. I might hire someone else. But I believe they're the biggest company biggest film company for designing armor and weapons. I believe. I may be mistaken, but we'll see what happens. I may not hire them. I may hire someone else. We'll see what happens when I start the process of Last of Us Ace in a few years from now. As 2024 should be when I start Sky Systems. 2024, I should be hard at work in the office. for my Last of Us project, and you're still taking for granted. There's a good chance Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson, they're gonna be in that. They're gonna be in what? They're gonna be in the office with me and my wife working on the script and doing the concept arts. If one of those guys are hired, obviously, there's something that tells me Mel Gibson's the right man for the job because he did Passion of the Christ and Passion of Christ. But something also tells me Peter Jackson's the right man for the job because he did Lord of the Rings. And they're both really, really good candidates, obviously. Again, if Peter Jackson will Gibson hard, I'll pay for their hotel and I'll pay for their feeding. Even though I'm paying them $10 million, technically speaking, I don't have to pay for their feeding because I'm paying them a salary, obviously, for pre-production. They can easily pay for their own food, but because I'm generous, I'll have them stay at a hotel, not a luxury hotel, but I'll have them stay at a nice hotel in Vancouver. So they'll be staying with a concert artist. So Alan Lee, and John Howe, they'll be staying in a hotel too, in Vancouver the first year, and Peter Jackson will be working with them obviously in the hotel. Obviously, they'll be working with them because I want John Howe and Alan Lee to draw for the world building for my movie, obviously. So I'll hire those guys, pay them a nice $160,000, whatever it is. $160,000 is a nice paycheck for concert bars. As in Hollywood, they probably make like $50,000. So I'm going to pay them a nice $60,000. Pay them a nice $170,000 to draw, which is a nice paycheck. Pay for Alan Lee's feeding. You pay for his hotel. You pay for John Howe's feeding. You pay for his hotel, obviously. They'll be staying in Vancouver for a good, like a couple months to draw. Have them stay there for a good 6 months, and after 6 months you can send them home. 6 months is more than enough time to draw all the lands, right? More than enough time. Obviously. And then Peter Jackson or Mel Gibson, if they're hired, they'll be staying at a hotel, paid for, and I'll pay for their feeding. I'll have their feeding for breakfast, lunch, and dinner paid for. And a limo driver will take them every day for their breakfast and lunch. John Howe and Alan Lee, a limo driver, will take them every day for their breakfast and lunch. Obviously for their feeding, obviously, which is a nice perk, obviously. So every day a limo driver drives up to your hotel and they take you for your feeding, for your breakfast. Even though Mel Gibson or Peter Jackson don't need their feeding taken care of because I pay them the $10 million, I'm gonna pay them for the feeding. That way they work harder for you. Right, so I pay you your $10 million, which is a lot of money. You write the script, you do the concert arts pretty much, and you'll be consulting for business because I want you as one of my executive producers. So you're the boss of the movie. Obviously, I'm giving you power. I'll give one of them power if they're chosen. They're the boss of the movie, and I pay for your feeding. And a limo driver takes you every day. A limo driver will take you every day for your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, which is a nice perk, obviously. And Peter Jackson or Mel Gibson, if they're hired, they're gonna experience the crazy fame too. As fans are gonna Fans are gonna go crazy. Fans are gonna constantly ask Mel Gibson or Peter Jackson for autographs because those guys are famous directors. Oh my God, this director's directing Last of Us is the best story ever told. These directors are also gonna experience fucking crazy fame for the fans, man. You're gonna see that trending online. Yeah, if they're chosen, those directors are also gonna experience crazy fame for the fans, obviously. As you're looking at crazy worldwide fame. Look at something crazy, man. If they are chosen, if one of those guys are chosen, they're going to be lucky chosen. They're going to be saved, and they're going to get to experience success and fame with Ivan and VJ for the best story ever told in motion picture. Because once you read my book, you'll finally see what I mean. You're looking at the best story ever told in motion picture. Yes, even better than Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, if it's done right, and a lot of money's put into it. Even Peter Jackson will tell me, "Yeah, Ivan, I read your book. If you put a lot of money into this movie, I can't see any fantasy. I can't see any movie trilogy topping this trilogy. Because Last of Us is such a unique story. Such a unique story. I can't picture anything topping it. Because it's an amazing story, obviously. Even Lord of the Rings can't top that, man. If you put a lot of money into it and you hire good people, you write an amazing script, you put $1 billion into it, you have everything to be developed stuff, you're looking at the best story ever told in motion picture. One of them, the best story ever told in motion picture. Yes, even better than Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. But if you don't put a lot of money into it, if I put $200 million towards Zanus, the movie will not be better than Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. I'm telling you right now, it will not be better than Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. As it's very hard to top the Lord of the Rings franchise. It's very hard to top that trilogy. Hence why for Last of the Rings, if you want to have it better than Lord of the Rings, you need to put unheard amount of money into it. And you need to have Eretap be the devil himself. You need to have unheard of war building and unheard of action sequences. You need to actually hire 60,000 extras. That way you have unheard. You get an unheard of movie. That way you get an unheard of amazing movie, and you're looking at a movie even better than Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, if it's done right. That's how top notch of a movie Last Hope for Zanes will be made. Look at the best story ever told in the most picture. Hence why there's a good chance I'm going to hire one of those directors, either Peter Jackson or I'm going to hire Mel Gibson. But something tells me Mel Gibson's the right man for the job. But at the same time, something tells me Peter Jackson's the right man for the job, because he did Lord of the Rings, the bulk of Canada. Hence why those two directors, if chosen, if I choose to hire a director, they're going to be competing for the job. I'm going to ask them a series of questions. Okay, you read my book. What do you see? What do you see Eretap? When you think of Eretap, the Devil Wolf King, what do you see? What are you thinking of? What are you thinking of in your mind? When you think of this action sequence, what do you see in your head? When you think of this, when you think of Sapphires, when you think of the scene with Lithia, what do you see in your mind? When you read my book, and they're going to answer all these questions. Whoever comes up with a better satisfying answer. Hey, when you think of Zanes, do you think of it as a PG-13 movie, or do you think of it as a horror rated R movie? What do you picture? Do you think of it as a PG movie, or do you think of it as a rated R movie? Whoever comes up with a better answer, that's the director who I'll be hiring, obviously. Right? Yeah, that's how top notch Skysers will be, and that's why even those two directors, if one of them are chosen, even those directors are gonna beg me to resign. Hey, Ivan, can I direct your next movie? I want to work for you. I don't want to work in Hollywood. I can't stand Hollywood. Hollywood's such a better sky source. You know, at the same time, I got my freedom. I know what it's like to make a lot of money and be free. Your company's burned though. Your company. Some of the directors might even cry. Because they know that they're going to go back to being dirty slaves in Hollywood, being a slave to someone else. Even though they're going to make a lot of money in Hollywood, they're going to go back to being dirty slaves. As even these directors, if one of them are chosen, even one of them might cry. You know, Ivan, please, when I want to direct your next movie, I don't want to go to Hollywood. Your company's so much better than Hollywood. Some of these directors are, if chosen, even they're going to beg. You might be saying, hey, Ivan, can I direct your organization movie? I want to direct your organization movie so bad. I'm like, no, man. You're good for Last of Zanes, but you're not good for the organization movie. That's how top-notch of a company me and my wife's guys' company will be, man. This has been crazy. Show my camera up here.